Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello ladies and gentlemen, how are you today? How's your day in quarantine time? I hope you are in good health and may God take care all of you wherever and whenever. This video is my first video on my YouTube channel. So let me introduce myself. My name is Amalia Kabilanti. I'm a student. I'm a student in one of university, and this video is for my mid-test assignment in academic speaking class. So I want sharing to you about higher education policy unsuitable with implementations, the definitions of education and the definitions of policy, and why higher educations are unsuitable with the implementations. This information is important for you who will be students in university or who already okay. That's it. Higher educations is educations, training and research guidance that takes place at the post-secondary level. Yeah, higher educations in your field and in your brain that higher educations is the next level after secondary level. It's the next level after secondary level. And then research guidance. Higher educations have one of part of higher educations is research. That research is outcomes of students. Is the key of students after graduation, before graduations, and it's the key students forget the degree. Higher education comparisons all post-secondary educations, training and research guidance at education institutions such as university that are authorized as institutions of higher education by state authorities. According to UNESCO, institutions in Indonesia, there are 4. That's university, institutions, polytechnics, and academicians. And the next slide is the definitions of policy. Policy is a law, regulation, procedure, administrative actions, incentive, or voluntary practice of governments and other institutions. A policy is statement of intent to achieve certain goals by local, regional, or national governments of a countries, according to United Nations Framework Conventions on Climate, UNFCCC. And then a public policy is an action which employs governmental authority to commit resources in support of preferred value. Okay. The relations of higher educations with policy. Policy aspect emphasizes the capacity of those writing and reading the policy to shape its form at the strategic, organizational, and operational level. There are 3 aspects that I highlight: strategic, organizational, and operational level. Policy, it's about strategy, and they manage organizational and operational level. Like higher education has goal and target that they have reached, so they need strategical directions. Higher education, I illustrated with compare with coronavirus. Coronavirus, there have some strategy to fight this virus to achieve the goal. And higher education, it's same, have some strategy to achieve their goal, the target of university of or the target of higher education. And higher education is one of human systems organization which is related to human service, so it needs policy that can manage the organization principles. Higher education is human system organizations, because higher education is about human service, so it needs policy, it needs some strategy, some operational, organizational to manage the system of higher education. Okay. The shape of global higher education policy. International AHE is International Higher Education. International higher education policy include the countries have IHE strategies toward IHE at national level. The aspects of competitions is very strong in higher education, so every country have some strategy to achieve the standard quality, high standard quality, to bring the university national level. And research is becoming policy preoccupations. Research is outcomes of students. Research is policy in higher education, because higher education is implement higher learning, right? Higher learning, the outcomes of higher learning is research. So research is becoming policy in higher education. And research, it's intellectual assets to make some new discoveries with the innovations and with the critical thinking. Brain drain preventions, its relations with research. Brain drain research, the end of research is to improve the critical thinking, to improve the knowledge, so they have brain drain preventions qualities highly too. And student mobility, I have a friend, Thai students. In my class there is 2 Thai students. It's about student mobility. Student mobility, it's a privilege to student in other countries study in Indonesia. student in Indonesia can study in other countries too. Equality in IHE access. Equality in on IHE access. So there is no differences with rich student or poor students in international higher education access because of the equality. The next slide is Indonesia higher education policy. The constitution, according to the constitution number 12 2012, the three dharma for higher education, this is referred lead to obligations of higher education institution to organize educations, research and community service. We get some material in class that's about organized educations, and research is about outcomes of the students, and community service, that's social service. Higher educations can be influenced to social service. There are big three points. The nation's competitiveness, autonomy, organization's health. The nation competitives, globalization and industrial revolutions. So because of globalization and industrial revolutions, it's give the opportunities to other countries, to other citizens in other countries to work in our countries, to Indonesia. So Indonesia students have to compete in the world competitions with other countries in the world. Autonomy is about regulations of national, about higher educations, organization health, like capacity building, institutions, corporations, or many other things. And then higher educational policy implementations. Excellence. The excellent Indonesia is a developing countries because Indonesia include into low-income countries from World Economic Forum in 2012. With higher educations, excellence in research field, and then Indonesia government makes some regulation to improve the standard quality, like they make some association to national college accreditations to make a standard qualities for university. But in reality, unemployment student in universities, in scholars and diplomas, about 6.9%. And then equity the rights in Indonesia, Like the government of Indonesia have two programs to the poor students. Bidik Misi is one of program from government to give some access for poor students to study in higher education. 3.6 million every students. And legal reform in law number 12 in 2012 about the tertiary educations as a regulations that manage the institution qualifications, financial quality of workspace, and accessibility to educations, mastering the excellence of educations. But in reality, higher educations always the autonomy. It's management financial freedom. Even though this autonomy is about autonomy, educational autonomy, financial autonomy, human resources autonomy, that not only about the education autonomy, but financial autonomy has managed by legal reform from the law number 12 2012. And funding structure, government only give the money to state of university Government only allocate 50% to higher educations and capacity building, because there are different with state university and private sector university from the funding. Yes, the state of university have a good infrastructure, have a good facilities, so it can be different with private sectors, because private sectors only from the students. And then institutional cooperation, higher educations, in reality have a different ideology with industrial. So it's difficult to there are difficult aspects to cooperate the higher educations with in this industrial, because in industrial have been fast dynamic, but higher education must be implement the ideology and bureaucracy. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you. I want to apologize that I have a big mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.